You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Cancer season, happy summer solstice, and happy birthday to all the Cancers out there, as well as all the solstice babies. It's a really special thing to have a birthday on a summer solstice, and actually my grandma has her birthday today, as well as one of my best friends, Jenny. So happy birthday to both of them, and they are in great company. Prince William has a birthday today. Lana Del Rey celebrates her solo return. Chris Pratt and Edward Snowden all have birthdays today. So it's really interesting being born on a solstice because you really have to know your exact birth time to know whether you are a Gemini or a Cancer. Let us know though, are you a Cancer? Are you excited about your season coming up? When's your birthday? We want to know. Hi, Diane. Happy summer solstice. Hope you're having a great day, Rachel. Oh, and hello to your mom, too. I love that. Starting Cancer season, spending time with your mom. What a perfect way to start this astrological season. So in this video, we're going to talk about all the major energy coming our way this Cancer season. I'll walk you through all the major transits coming up over the next month. And we'll also talk about, the major transits happening today. Of course, Cancer season beginning. We have a beautiful trine between Venus and Pluto we'll be discussing. And also we'll talk a little bit about the summer solstice. What does it mean? Why have people all over the world celebrated on this day or around this time for literally thousands of years now? So we're going to dive right into all of it. But let's start with a look at the current energy, the current chart. We've got a lot of changes coming our way over the next couple days. And very welcome changes, a lot of beautiful shifts coming. So here's a look at today's chart. You can see the sun now at 0 degrees in Cancer, and we have Venus over here in Taurus at 28 degrees, trining Pluto at 27 degrees, but this trine happened at like 1 a.m. So where should we start? Let's talk about Venus and Pluto first, and then we'll dive into Cancer season. So Venus over here is harmonizing with Pluto. What does that mean for us? This is really kind of setting the stage for the beginning of our Cancer season. And we've been talking so much about Venus lately. We talked a lot about Venus yesterday. Over the weekend, Venus squared off to Saturn, formed a sextile to Neptune. There's been a lot of shifts and changes happening in our relationships. And not just our romantic relationships, but our friendships as well, our business partnerships, our own relationship with money, our own relationship to our own values. There's been this underlying transformation happening. Now remember, Pluto is currently retrograde. So this trine between Venus and Pluto is kind of allowing us to review the transformation we've been undergoing in these areas. But anytime Pluto is involved in a transit, even a very fortunate transit such as this one, there's a level of intensity here. And so you might just feel really powerful love today or really powerful desire today as well. These connections we have, whether they're with other people or whether they're with our own values. I mean, money is a huge energetic connection that we all have this day and age, right? Those connections are really feeling deep today. We're also more drawn to mystery when Venus, the planet of attraction, harmonizes with Pluto, the planet of shadows. And we can be a little bit obsessive about the objects of our affection as well. So don't be surprised today if you're just feeling a little bit like obsessed. Like, what's it called? Cute aggression. Have you ever heard of that? Like when you love something so much and you just think it's so cute that you want to squeeze it. That's when Venus trines Pluto. We just have a little bit of cute aggression or love aggression, like love bombing people a little bit. Now, this also is sparking home improvement season in a big way. I love that every year in the summer, you see all the Home Depot commercials, all the Lowe's commercials about home improvement, renovating your home. I've even talked to multiple people who are, always, not always. Right now, they're thinking about improving their homes or they have all these ideas. I just love that this happens during Cancer season and Cancer rules the home. But Venus forming a harmony to Pluto is really wanting us to beautify our space, beautify our environment in some way. And remember, Pluto is like the alchemist. So we want some sort of transformation in our physical environment. Venus can rule the aesthetic, the beauty around us. And of course, Venus in Taurus very much brings us into comfort, into luxury. So a lot of us are wanting to transform or upgrade our environment right now. Yeah, always with babies. It's that cute, or dogs even. I'm like that with my dogs. I'm just like, oh, why are you so cute? That's kind of the feeling we're feeling today with Venus and Pluto really amping things up. So that's kind of just like the background transit of today. We're going to talk a lot about Cancer season, but I didn't want to leave Venus and Pluto out because they're really setting the stage for a beautiful energy today. And the vibes should feel good. If you're not feeling good vibes, I don't know. Everything today is feeling very positive as I'm looking at the transits. The sun is now in Cancer. The moon is in Aries. So I will say the sun and moon are forming a loose square to one another, but really asking us to step into a leadership position. Both the sun and moon right now are in cardinal signs, and these signs are, more authority figures of the zodiac. Of course, Capricorn and Libra are the other two cardinal signs. So if you're a cardinal sign or you have a lot of cardinal placements, you could be feeling just a little bit of that tension today, or even just kind of an urge to step into a leadership role. And the beauty of Cancer season is that it allows us to step into a leadership position, but in a way that is nurturing and tender and soft. It's that motherly figure. So let's talk about Cancer season. Oh yeah, your whole past week organizing your studio and computer room. I love that. Home improvement season, everyone. I mean, you guys all know home improvement has been happening around here. We got new AC. There's been construction going on. So I'm feeling it too. Let's talk about Cancer season now. So the sun moved into Cancer at 2:14 this morning. It's officially here. Cancer season is upon us. What does that mean though? Let's just kind of briefly go over Cancer energy. We really haven't talked a lot about major Cancer transits since we started this live stream because there have been no major planets in Cancer yet over the past 8 months, which is how long we've been doing these streams. So Cancer season is here. Welcome, welcome. Of course, when we talk about a season, we're talking about the sun moving through a sign. And just as a refresher, the sun represents our life force energy. And we're going to be talking a lot about the sun today too, because it's the summer solstice, the day in the northern hemisphere at least, when we experience the longest amount of light. It's a day where we're all celebrating the sun in a lot of ways. And in astrology, the sun represents our consciousness, our ego, our identity, our willpower, our purpose in our own charts, really that light and essence that is within all of us. That is the sun in astrology. And with the sun in Cancer, we will all be feeling a little bit more of that Cancer essence. Remember when we talk about the seasons that we all have all 12 zodiac signs in our charts. Even though we might not have planets in those signs, we still have those signs there. And when the sun is moving through Cancer, it is moving through a part of your chart. So this is a great point in the astrology forecast to pull out your own chart and see what house is ruled by Cancer. This is the area of your life that's going to be illuminated or lit up a little bit during Cancer season. And this is the part of your life, your chart, that is infused with that Cancer energy. So what does that Cancer energy look like? Well, the word that always pops up first if you search Cancer, if you talk about Cancer, is nurturing. It is that mama bear energy. And there's a lot of emotion. You know, Cancers get the reputation for being kind of crybabies or very weepy, but it's because they're so attuned to their emotions. Remember, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So especially if you're a Cancer rising, you're someone who might want to track the moon transits because your mood probably fluctuates with the moon's movements. And if you're a Cancer sun, I would say, you're probably somebody who kind of is more attuned to the current energy wherever the moon is as well. Anyway, Cancer, they get a rap for being moody as well. They're the sign of the crab. So it's like that hard outer shell with a really soft, tender inside. And that's why they are also known for protection, for the home. Crabs literally carry their homes on their back. Comfort. Cancers are usually very tapped into their intuition, being ruled by the moon. They're a little bit more sensitive to emotions, feeling the emotion of other people, feeling their own emotion very deeply. And then comes that quality of leadership as well, that matriarchal quality. I notice too, people who have heavy Cancer placements, food, nourishment is really big for them. That's kind of how, like, one of their love languages a lot of the time. If they have, especially Cancer moons, oh my goodness, like they usually love to emotionally support people through food, through feeding them. So nourishment's really good for Cancers, or a really big quality. Caregiving, family is huge when we talk about Cancer energy. It's all about the family unit. In the traditional zodiac wheel, Cancer rules the 4th house, which is our home and family, our foundational roots. So this Cancer season, expect to not only want to spend more time in your home, because Cancer rules the home, but also more time around your close family, more time with your mother, like Diane is doing right now. This is a great day to call your mom. Throughout Cancer season, it's a great time to call your mom, but definitely today would be a great day to call your mom. I have a couple planets in Libra and Capricorn, and my manager just mentioned she might be retiring soon, and I'm the only other designer in my department. Maybe that's a sign. Yes, it could be an opportunity for you to step into a leadership role. And I would just take a look at where Cancer, your midheaven is in Cancer. Okay, well, yes, perfect. That's great for your career. Your career is probably going to be illuminated this Cancer season. Oh, and I love that your mom is a Cancer sun and she's joining us today. So happy early birthday to her. And make sure on July 6th you remind me so we can give her a shout out on the exact day too. Anywho, when the sun is in Cancer, we're in the home, we're around our family, we're nurturing ourselves, we're nurturing other people, we're enjoying good food, we're really focused on the environment that we're creating. And Cancer is really big on safety too. So we want our home to feel safe, but we also want to create an environment where other people feel safe. Do you notice that the Cancers in your life are really great? They're great huggers. Cancers are just like the best huggers. They just make you feel safe literally in their arms. But also when you're in their presence, when you're in their home, it's just like, oh yeah, like I'm taken care of here. That's really the energy of Cancer season. It's not just about the physical environment, but the energy of nurturing and the family environment that they create, making other people feel safe and comfortable. Now let's talk about the meaning of the summer solstice before we head into all of the transits coming up this Cancer season, because I just, as much as I love talking about astrology, I really do enjoy taking these days when the whole world, regardless of astrology or not, is marking a moment, celebrating something going on in our environment and talking about the origin of it. So of course, the summer solstice is the point when in the northern hemisphere, the earth is tilted closest to the sun, which is why we see the sun for the longest point of time in the sky at this point every year. And for thousands of years, cultures have been gathering around the summer solstice, doing rituals and traditions around the summer solstice. A lot of it has to do with agriculture and abundance and harvesting crops around this time, really just celebrating the abundance of daylight as the sun reaches that highest point in the sky. It's an opportunity, and you see this in many cultural traditions, to celebrate our own vitality, to celebrate our own life force energy. We are not alive without the sun, right? So today, it's really cool when we talk about the summer solstice and astrology, because the summer solstice is, of course, about worshiping the sun and this ball of energy that gives us all life, literally. But it's also the beginning of Cancer season, which is ruled by the moon. So it's almost this balancing act between masculine and feminine energy when we talk about the summer solstice coinciding with astrology. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think it's just so interesting that Cancer season starts on the summer solstice. It's literally this balance between the sun and the moon. But I wanted to share just a few little rituals and traditions that I read about. This is just via a news website that, they put together, aggregated all of these different cultural traditions. I wanted to share a few with you. So let's see. The significance of the summer solstice to ancient cultures had many aspects, including calendaring, crop planting, agriculture. A lot of cultures moved their camp or housing locations around this time because they had more light to do so. A lot of ceremonies. Ancient Romans celebrated the arrival of summer with a religious festival in honor of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth. And Vesta is actually an asteroid in astrology. We don't talk about her very much, but she is an asteroid in many of our charts, or in all of our charts somewhere. But women would enter temples named for the goddess Vesta to leave offerings with the hopes of receiving good blessings for their families. So very interesting that we're talking about that goddess mother energy that ancient Romans really revered around this time. In ancient Greece, the summer solstice marked the new year, and it became a time to hold a festival for Cronus, the god of agriculture. Even slaves were allowed to break social codes and participate in these festivities. Interesting. Now here's where it gets really cool. The alignment of ancient archaeological structures like the Great Pyramids in Egypt suggests that they observe the summer solstice as well, because if you are standing directly in front of the Sphinx, I've never done this, but this is according to this website, the sun sets precisely between the two pyramids on the summer solstice. We could go on and on about ancient Egypt and all the weird things, all the weird synchronicities out of that time period, but really cool that the sun sets right between the two pyramids on the summer solstice. Native Americans, many tribes performed solstice rituals as well. The Sioux took part in a ceremonial sun dance around a tree while wearing symbolic colors. An arrangement of stones has been found to align with the rising sun at the summer solstice. It was a site of the tribe's annual dance. Remaining tribes still do rituals. I would love to find a local ritual. If anybody knows of anything in the Sacramento area, I would be so down to go take part or observe something like that. The last thing I'll mention is that some people believe Stonehenge, the 5,000-year-old standing stones in southwest England, some people believe that Stonehenge aligns with the direction of the sunrise on the summer solstice. There's not a lot of evidence to back that up, but apparently thousands of people in colorful costumes every year go to Stonehenge to watch the sunrise on the summer solstice. So not only did ancient cultures celebrate this in so many ways, celebrate the abundance, give thanks to goddesses and gods, but also our current culture, there are summer solstice celebrations happening all over the world right now, which is just so cool. It's so cool that we can all, as a collective, regardless of, our political beliefs, our nationalities, the cultures we come from, we can all appreciate that the sun is what binds us all. It's what brought us all here. It's what keeps us all alive. Now let's walk through the major transits coming up this Cancer season, and then we'll briefly go through what's going on with the moon today. It's not a whole lot, and honestly, it's all really good news, so there's no watch out today because the moon's doing something crazy. It's all pretty positive. But first, let's walk through Cancer season. What's going on over the next 4 weeks? All right, so we'll start with our first major transit, which will actually happen tomorrow, and we will go into more depth about this tomorrow. I'm just going to skim through each of these, and I'll post this on my Instagram later. You can always come back, bookmark it, and of course, as these transits come up, we'll go into more detail each morning. But our first major transit of Cancer season is Venus moving into Gemini. This happens tomorrow morning, and you know, Venus has been in Taurus. Venus loves to be in Taurus. It rules Taurus. It's really been bringing us back to our sensuality and helping us slow down, return to our values in a lot of ways. We've all been feeling like the need for a little bit more luxury and comfort with Venus and Taurus. Venus in Gemini makes variety the spice of life. We're attracted to a lot of different experiences. We can even express our affection through communication more easily when Venus enters Gemini tomorrow. You know, it's like meeting new people, putting ourselves out there, socializing, which we got in the groove of during Gemini season. That could bring new connection opportunities, whether they're romantic opportunities or business opportunities, financial opportunities. We're not necessarily in like commitment mode when Venus enters Gemini, but we're definitely open to new people, new information, new opportunities. And if you're currently in a relationship, because of course, when we talk about Venus, we really want to talk about relationships. Everybody wants to talk about love with Venus. If you're in a current relationship, spicing things up, trying new things with your partner, changing up the routine could be a great way to bring in new energy. And it can also open up the flow of communication between you and a partner. Again, this could be a romantic partner, this could be a business partner, even a friendship, but opening up that line of communication is going to let the love flow more easily when Venus enters Gemini. Then next week, next Tuesday, Neptune stations retrograde. So once this happens, we will have Pluto retrograde, Saturn retrograde, and Neptune retrograde. And we have one more retrograde we'll talk about in this video. So retrograde season has begun. And it's important to note, Neptune stations retrograde every year. Saturn stations retrograde every year. I believe Pluto does the same. So it's not like these are fast transits like a Mercury retrograde where things are a little haywire for a couple weeks, then they return back to normal. These are long, extended retrogrades. This retrograde Neptune will be with us, I want to say, through December. But you know what? Let me tell you exactly so you are prepared for what's coming. So Neptune stations retrograde on the 28th. When does Neptune go direct? On December 3rd, okay? So for the next 5 months, Neptune is retrograde, and this happened right around the same time last year. Now, Neptune is the planet of illusions. It's the planet of deception and dreams and fantasy. And when Neptune goes retrograde, it's almost like pulling back the curtain on the illusion. If we have been deceived in any way, or we've had the covers pulled over our eyes in any way, that could clear up. The fog could clear during Neptune's retrograde. This kind of feels like a behind the scenes look at all the projections that we've been seeing. Have you ever heard like the allegory of the cave? This, I believe, is Plato. You learn about it in like a basic philosophy class, but essentially, you know, without going into the whole allegory of the cave, people lived in a cave and they would see shadows cast on the wall from a fire, but they couldn't see outside of the cave, and they thought those shadows were the beings themselves. They had no idea that people were walking around outside of the cave. So if we compare a Neptune retrograde to the allegory of the cave, it would be like that moment when the cave people actually figured out how to look outside of the cave and realize these projections on the walls of the cave, these shadows, weren't messages from God or spirits or anything like that. They were literally just projections of something else that they were unaware of. So Neptune's retrograde can kind of feel like that. And, you know, retrogrades are always a time to review. So this is a time over the next few months to go back, review any points of confusion or any blurry boundaries that you've kind of just been muddling through over the past 6 months. You might also be forced to review your own sense of faith and trust. Neptune rules that sense of faith in a higher power, that ability to believe in something without actually seeing it. So concepts of universal love, higher consciousness could come up, not only individually as we review our own beliefs, but also collectively as we all experience Neptune retrograde from basically July to the beginning of December. All right, also on June 28th, quite possibly the most potent new moon of the year, the new moon in Cancer. Of course, the moon is ruled by Cancer, so we love a new moon in Cancer. But also, this new moon is really bringing a potent opportunity to reclaim our power and set some big intentions. And that's because this new moon will be at 7 degrees of Cancer, forming a conjunction to Lilith, and Lilith brings this powerful, almost rebellious energy, this autonomous energy. We've really been focused on bodily autonomy with Lilith and Cancer. This new moon is going to bring an awareness to what our body needs. And throughout Cancer season, listening to your body is definitely important because Cancer is, I believe, like most associated with the body. Yes, it rules our emotions, but our emotions live in our body. So the new moon forms a conjunction to Lilith, but it's also squaring off to Jupiter, which makes us feel the need to go big. So there can be really big intentions set, and we're more tapped into our intuition with this new moon in Cancer. So taking that moment to listen to our intuition and set intentions could be very, very powerful under this new moon. There's an ample energy of abundance we're working with. The only thing I will say about this new moon is just like watch your mood a little bit, because it could be easy to be especially crabby with the moon in Cancer and the sun in Cancer, and with Lilith right there too. We could even be a little bit bitchy. So just, check yourself, make sure you're leaning into that nurturing energy. And I think failing to listen to the needs of your body under this new moon in Cancer could make that bitchier side come out a little more easily. All right, our next transit we're talking about, if my computer wants to go, are we gonna do it? Let's see. Are you gonna, it's not happy with me right now. Can you see it on your end? Nope, we're still stuck on the new moon in Cancer. All right, let me give it a second and see what you guys are saying in the comments. Let's see. Some of what has been happening may have been a bit of an illusion, needing rethinking. Yeah, and this isn't something that's going to be like in your face, like Neptune retrograde is showing you all these things. It's a very slow, extended energy. So, curious, is this more deceptions lifting since the lunar eclipse, Mercury retrograde? It definitely could be. But remember, this is over a 5-month period. So like I said, it's not necessarily going to feel like, like this aha moment all at once. It could just be like these slow realizations. You're kind of starting to understand the inner workings. It's like you've been watching a play and all of a sudden you're seeing all the people in the background pulling up the curtains, putting the sets on stage, all the costumes, things like that. So it's not this like one moment. It's like you're slowly starting to put these things together of, okay, this is really what's been going on. Okay, I'm gonna reload this document and see if it wants to work with me now. Let me see here. Where are we? I think we're on, okay. Moving on to the 4th of July. If I can get this to load back up. Technology has been giving me a hard time today too, and I'm not really sure why. Mercury is not retrograde. It's not even in its shadow period, but sometimes there's just no explanation. Okay, but speaking of Mercury, here we go. On the 4th of July, there we are. On the 4th of July, Mercury enters Cancer. So Mercury's been in Gemini, really picking up the pace of our communication. We're wanting to learn all the things. You might even feel a bit mentally scattered with Mercury in Gemini, even though it's at home in Gemini. It's just really picking up the pace of everything right now. I really view Mercury as like the pace of our days. It's like really ruling that daily plan, that daily routine. And with it in Gemini, I don't know about you, but it just feels like everyone is extremely busy with Mercury in Gemini. But the 4th of July brings Mercury moving into Cancer. And you might find that your communication just feels a little bit more emotional and nurturing. It's like the way we communicate doesn't even have to be verbal with Mercury in Cancer. It can be through loving acts. It can be through food. It can be through that great hug. Physical touch is especially potent during Cancer season in general, but like that can be a way to communicate with Mercury in Cancer. I wrote, a hug is worth 1,000 words over the next 3 weeks. And it's really true. I don't know about you, but have you ever gotten just like an amazing hug? And it's like, there are no words that could even compare to this. I just feel so like loved and safe by someone's embrace. That's Mercury in Cancer. But when we do speak with Mercury in Cancer, those words will be infused with tender emotion. Now, we can be a little bit moodier with our words for sure, but we'll enjoy conversing with family a little bit more, having those really sweet conversations, even talking to our mother, talking to our grandmother. If you have like babies on the brain, that could definitely come up during Mercury in Cancer. We could all be thinking and talking about our family dynamics a little bit more, the family we came from, the family we're building for ourselves. I just see a lot of us talking to our family more with Mercury in Cancer. Also on July 4th, Mars enters Taurus. So we have 2 major transits we will be feeling this 4th of July. When Mars moves into Taurus, remember Mars is in Aries right now. It's in its home sign. So Mercury moves out of its home sign and Mars moves out of its home sign on the same day. When Mars enters Taurus, we're more determined and steadfast in our actions. Mars in Aries is like, go, just do it, start it. Like we just want to take that impulsive action. Mars in Taurus is a little bit more reserved. We're acting from a more grounded place and we are at a more reasonable pace as well. We might move a little bit slower, but our actions carry a lot of weight with them. And they're more aligned with our values as well, with Taurus ruling our values. We might also be more motivated to attain physical security in some way with Mars and Taurus. Mars ruling our motivation, Taurus very much associated with physical comfort and money. Taurus also rules our sensuality, so sensuous movement. Mars is that planet of action and how we move. Every movement we take will feel a little bit more sensual, a little bit more, rooted and deep within our body. We're motivated by security and we really have the grit to get what we want. And kind of this elegance in how we're going about it, how we're getting those things, how we're taking action. Again, physical touch this Cancer season is going to be huge. Listening to your body this Cancer season, Mars and Taurus, like you really want to check in with your physical vessel before you take action. Listening to your body this Cancer season, I cannot stress that enough. Oh, I didn't realize you have Venus in Taurus. You're having your Venus return and your solar return. Hello, we love this for you. Happy birthday. Okay. What else is coming up? We have a lot of transits this Cancer season. The Capricorn full moon. We are graced with this full moon on July 13th. Now remember, full moons are times of illumination, celebration. And the Capricorn full moon is really a moment in the middle of the year to celebrate all that you've achieved so far, to celebrate your success, to appreciate everything you've accomplished. And also to look back on the past. Capricorn energy is a lot about time and the past and looking back, but to appreciate all the wisdom that you've gained from the past, whether that's through your own experience or through your ancestors' experiences. This full moon is a great time in Cancer season. We're focused on the family, asking elder relatives, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, stories about their childhood, the history of your family. That will feel especially enriching and nourishing around this Capricorn full moon. And in your own life, we're experiencing our emotions through a more practical lens anytime the moon is in Capricorn, even a full moon, which is, more of a heightened experience. But it's a nice way almost to like look back and see things almost from a less emotional point of view, like looking back at the foundation we built for ourselves and being able to appreciate it from a more like, wow, look at how far we've come, look what we've built. And we can also appreciate every building block along the way, whether it was an obstacle or an opportunity or both. It's just like this culmination point where we can really give thanks for our success thus far. And Capricorn energy is also about long-term planning too. So while we have this gratitude for how far we've come and how much we've grown, we're also looking to the long-term future and seeing like, okay, the foundation we built for ourselves, where can we go with that? How much more can we build off of this? This is also a beautiful opportunity with the Capricorn Cancer energy to step into your own leadership role as well and recognize, as much as we appreciate the wisdom from our ancestors, from our grandparents, from previous generations, we will become the leaders of our generation at some point. So really taking ownership of our own leadership abilities under the Capricorn full moon and appreciating our ability to lead. I'm excited about this full moon. The Capricorn full moon doesn't necessarily get a great reputation because the Capricorn moon is kind of like, the moon doesn't like to be here. But I love that it happens at the midpoint of the year, and it's like really a nice check-in for how far we've come. On July 17th, Venus enters Cancer. So we will have the sun in Cancer, we'll have Mercury in Cancer, and Venus in Cancer by July 17th. And I mean, loving emotions can just flow through this. With Venus in Gemini, it's more about all the experiences and making all the connections, seeing, are we compatible? Is it a good fit? Venus in Cancer is like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Like that is Venus in Cancer. It's like expressing our love, feeling the love. Our body really is going to crave love again through physical touch. It's going to be super, super potent. Good food is a love language with Venus in Cancer. Beautifying our home takes an even next level approach when Venus enters Cancer. Venus, the planet of beauty and aesthetic, entering the sign of the home. If you're not already in home improvement mode by this point, July 17th, you're probably going to be looking around like, should I tear down that wall? Should I hang a shelf over here? Maybe even something as simple as buying a new plant or, just rearranging things. Doesn't have to be a full-blown renovation. But if you're like me, you'll probably be in the middle of a full-blown renovation at this point. And we're also getting great pleasure, Venus being the planet of pleasure, from spending time with our family and our close loved ones. Venus in Gemini is more about new connections we can make, new energy we can see if we're compatible with. Venus in Cancer is like, we just want to be around people that we feel safe and comfortable with. That's what we're attracted to. We're attracted to the familiar. We're attracted to spending time with our mom, especially with women. Venus in Cancer, like we want to be around women who make us feel great about ourselves. It's really about showing affection by taking care of others. And also there's an element of self-care with Venus in Cancer, really taking a moment to care for our body and listen to our body's needs. Secure relationships with Venus in Cancer are going to make us feel right at home, and we'll feel the most loved with these relationships that we know are already secure. July 19th, Mercury enters Leo. So we have 2 Mercury transits and 2 Venus transits happening in Cancer season. I wasn't kidding when I said we have a lot of energetic shifts coming our way. When Mercury moves into Leo, bold words are possible, bold conversations are possible. It's like the way we communicate is especially dramatic. And this can be really great if you have to give a presentation at work or you want to pitch a big idea. We have more confidence. We're more courageous with the ideas we're sharing with other people. We're more willing to just like put ourselves out there and spark up conversations with other people. We're more proud of the ideas that we're dreaming up. So it's a great time to put yourself out there. And if you have to do any public speaking or anything like that, Mercury in Leo is your best friend. The downside I will say of Mercury in Leo is that our communication and our ego are very tied to one another. Leo is very representative of the ego. So we want to make sure we're giving other people on the other end of the conversation plenty of time and space to communicate as well. So, we just want to make sure we're not dominating the conversation. We're not only using I statements, this is what I think, this is what I like. We want to be asking questions as well. What do you think? And giving time and space for other people to be part of the conversation. We're very focused on me, myself, and I. When Mercury is in Leo, even our thoughts, it's like, how can this benefit me? And I don't want to this is no shade against Leos or anything, because like I said, this is a great time for public speaking. It's a great time to give yourself a little extra push in your communication. But if you're already someone who is very confident speaking, just make sure that you're not dominating the conversation. And also on July 19th, our very last transit of Cancer season, Chiron stations retrograde, yet another retrograde that we're welcoming in during Cancer season. Now, Chiron will also be retrograde until December. So this is another extended retrograde. And Chiron is the wounded healer. So when Chiron begins its 5-month backspin, we are really reviewing our healing journey. And this is a slow and steady review. It's not anything that, again, you could have moments. It's like, oh, aha, this is why all of that happened to me or whatever, or why that situation, that really painful situation unfolded that way. So it's really about reviewing trauma, reviewing pain. And Chiron and Aries, we've been talking a lot about childhood trauma, inner child wounds. It's no surprise that that's become more mainstream to talk about with Chiron and Aries. So you might find yourself going back to situations in your own childhood here and there and addressing old wounds. Anything you've been avoiding, like maybe that was buried down there from your childhood, it might come up during Chiron's retrograde. But this isn't a transit you have to fear. As always, don't fear the retrogrades. They don't have to be scary. Instead, this can be an opportunity to address old wounds that we may not realize are actually affecting us every day and how we live out our life. It's not even a conscious thing. Sometimes the way we take action, the way we go about things is affected by situations that happened that we subconsciously learned patterns, and created subconscious responses. Anyway, this isn't a therapy session, but just know that between July and December, you could be doing a lot of reviewing, not only because Chiron and Neptune will be retrograde, but Saturn retrograde, really asking us to review structures, and Pluto retrograde, asking us to review transformation, all these things kind of playing into each other, helping us gain new perspectives, and ultimately helping us move forward by having a clearer view of the past, having a clearer view of the things that happened to us, and being able to own them a little bit more. So like I said, I will post these on my Instagram over the next couple of days. I'll bring them back up. We'll talk about all these things as they come to us, but that's your overview of what's coming our way this Cancer season. Hi, Jennifer. Happy summer solstice. Happy Cancer season. Ooh, is this also a time of inspiration? Was really inspired last night and currently working on new projects. I would say that it's a great point to look at where is the beginning of Cancer in your chart. I know you're either a Virgo or a Virgo rising. So if that's the case, this could be really big for work projects for you. I'm not positive though. Don't quote me on that until you tell me your rising sign again. But yeah, definitely, there is, I wouldn't say Cancer is super associated with creativity, but we are more intuitive during Cancer season. All of us, we're more tapped into our emotions, and being in that emotional state is where that creativity can come through, right? So yes, inspiration can strike at any time, but if Cancer is in part of your chart that has to do with either work or creativity, it would be especially powerful for you, Ken. Capricorn moon. I know you've talked about your Capricorn moon before. I have a few friends who have Capricorn moons. And, I don't think it necessarily makes you cold or harsh, maybe not all the time at least. But, probably you crave being in a leadership role, leading other people. You really have a great relationship with your elders or your family members. Breaking generational cycles is hard work. I love when the moon supports this. Yes, absolutely. The transits are always supporting us, yes, with the Capricorn full moon. And under the Capricorn full moon, Saturn will rule that moon and Saturn will be retrograde. So really a time of review, looking back at past generations like we talked about, and that can help you break generational trauma, generational cycles, or appreciate your ancestors who have started that shift of cycles. Sometimes we don't appreciate, like we can be like, oh my gosh, the way that my grandparent raised my parent is why I am this way. But if you look back even farther, you might realize that they were doing way better than their parents did, So it's a generational thing, and it can take decades. It can take many, many generations to create new cycles, but we're all part of the process. Your mom and uncle, July 19th. And it's like these retrogrades, when they start, it doesn't necessarily mean like all of a sudden there's a shift, because these are very subtle retrogrades we're talking about. Kind of excited to see how Cancer season affects my partner since he is a Cancer sun. Yes, keep us updated. We want to know all of the behind the scenes of what goes on. My dad is a Cancer, and so it'll be fun to see what's going on in his life in Cancer season too. It's funny, he's about to build a new home. He is in home improvement mode as well, which is super funny. Okay, yes, that's right. Rising sign, sun sign, both Virgo. Cancer is in the 11th house. So Cancer probably starts in your 10th house and moves into your 11th house, same as me, I would guess. So at the beginning of Cancer season, this would be a great time to really tap into your intuition about these projects you're working on, these long-term goals. But also what I love about Cancer season, for me in particular, and for you too, Ken, is that it's our time of community. It's our time of finding our people and spending time with our community. And specifically, I would say, the women in your life that you connect with Cancer ruling your 11th house, I could see you having great connections with women especially. But yeah, I could see it being a time where new projects are started for you, at least at the beginning of Cancer season. Oh yeah, I love looking at the trauma inception. And let me just riddle you this. How do you know that that was the inception? That might be like one part of it. There's so much of our own stories that we don't even know, because there wasn't the internet 50 years ago. We couldn't look back on great grandma's Instagram post to see that breakup that she went through before she married grandpa or whatever, you know what I mean? So it is amazing to be able to trace back in our own lives where things started. But I think it's really powerful, and what we can kind of work with under the Capricorn moon, and just with Chiron retrograde too, to be honest, is it's really easy when you look back at your own trauma to be like, oh, that came from my mom or whatever, and not to continue that, like, but why did my mom do that? And where did she learn that from? And probably my grandma or my grandpa. And why were they like that? It takes a lot of the blame, and for me at least, a lot of the resentment out of shadow work and going through our trauma. So that's just a little tidbit. If that resonates, take it. If not, don't. Yes, we love Cancer ruling the 11th house. This is why you're all my people. This is our community. This is our time, you guys. Ooh, let's just say he's going through some transformation, inner child healing. So I'm interested in seeing how it progresses, since his energy will be more at home. Yeah, it might be that like return to his emotions too during Cancer season, where he is comfortable enough to like really do that deep work. My natal Chiron is in Cancer, opposing my moon. Ooh, okay. So that full moon moment for you, that Capricorn full moon, will feel really powerful. But also, all of Cancer season, I really feel like for you, Jennifer, because the sun at some point will cross over your Chiron, it could illuminate some of those wounds for you. But you're already prepared to like do this work, and you're already here aligning with the energy of reviewing and Chiron retrograde and all these things. So I would just say, as that's happening, welcome it with curiosity and try not to get too sucked into your emotions with all of it, because Cancer season is a very emotional time. Katie also has her Chiron in Cancer, so same thing for you. And Katie and Jennifer, you guys are going to be going through the same thing, so you can swap battle stories here in the chat or find each other outside of the stream too. Okay, so we talked about what's coming up in Cancer season. Really briefly, I want to talk to you about what's happening with the moon today. So the moon is in Aries, and it's actually already made all the connections it's going to make today. But we're talking about the last quarter moon in Aries. I wasn't kidding when I said we had a lot to talk about today. So the last quarter moon is a time of release and letting go. But Aries energy makes us want to start something and do something. It's kind of an interesting dichotomy we have here. I see the best way to use the energy today as physical movement for release, honoring our body's needs, moving our body to release any tension. We probably are feeling with the summer solstice, with the beginning of a new astrological season, with the moon in Aries, like, okay, we want to start new projects. We want to do all the home improvement things. Is that just me? Because I am ready to tear down all the walls in my house and construct a whole new one. But, this is a really fantastic opportunity actually to just listen to our body and figure out what do we need to patch up or clear out still over the next week so that we are ready to start new projects and start something fresh under the new moon. Now, you probably woke up in a great mood because the moon was conjunct Jupiter at 8 a.m. So you can see the moon is still very close to Jupiter. We're feeling those good vibes. We have plenty of energy. It's like a mood boost. We've got all the optimism, even talking about trauma and all these dark things. We're like, it's good. We got it. We're ready to do this trauma healing. It's just, we're very optimistic today with the moon and Jupiter meeting up. It's easy to feel happy. It's easy to feel ready for whatever adventurous opportunities come our way. It's almost like we want to start something new and we're just waiting, what are we going to start? What are we going to do? So definitely optimistic, hopeful energy we're working with today. Now the moon is also squaring off to Lilith. So I'm just going to reiterate again, listen to your body. If you don't listen to your body could force you to listen to it. Lilith in Cancer wants to be heard and wants our body's needs to be heard. We're in the very physically focused Aries moon. Lilith in Cancer is all about bodily autonomy, feminine autonomy. We could just really feel a need to be sovereign and, we're the leader of our own life. That's kind of the energy when the moon in Aries squares off to Lilith in Cancer. And remember, during Cancer season, during that new moon, the sun is getting closer to Lilith too. So it's just even more of a reason to pay attention to what your body is telling you. Refusing to honor it could manifest as trying to control other people. If you don't feel like you're really attuned to your own body, you could be find yourself trying to be a little bit bitchy or controlling of other people's bodies, which we don't want to do. But sometimes our subconscious kind of plays out in that way, right? And then the final connection that we're really feeling right now, the moon is forming a sextile to Mercury. So this is helping us communicate more easily. We want to have these conversations. It's like Mercury and Gemini is a little scattered, a little all over the place, very curious, and it's kind of fanning the flames of the fiery Aries moon, making us look for those opportunities to start something new. And the conversations we have today actually can be really helpful in allowing us to release. If we lean more into conversation, into communication today, it can help us process okay, we really want to start these things, but conversations could show you, I still have all these things that I need to release first. So we'll have more clarity about what we really want and what we need to do to get it through conversations today as the moon and Mercury support each other. Let's see. Oh, Cancer is at 1 degree in your chart. So it's going to be all your 11th house probably then. Really interesting. I would say find your people this Cancer season, Ken. Definitely find your community. This is a great time to do it. Look at you guys. So cute. I'm starting my mentorship with Court next week. I love that. And are you the same? Also Cancer in your 11th house? trying to keep track of all of you. Yes, Virgo rising. So it'll be a great chance to connect with people, especially virtually. You know, our communities can be virtual. You'll be joining a whole new community with this mentorship. I love that. Learning new things. Beautiful. Feeling that optimism and drive. That is the perfect way to describe what's going on with the moon today. The Aries moon giving us the drive, the motivation, Jupiter giving us all the optimism. But remember, this is still a point of release. So, like, yes, lean into the energy, lean into all the optimism, get all the big ideas for sure, but make sure you're allowing yourself time to let go of things that are no longer serving you too. Doesn't have to be the full focus. That's not as fun, you know, but if you're having these big ideas, like of all these things you want to start, it can be really easy, at least for me, to like bypass all the things that are still on my to-do list and all the things I still need to get done and check off. So, you know, just a little reminder. Hi, Heather. Happy to see you in the comments. All right, this is a great point to talk about today's affirmation. Returning to the energy of the summer solstice today, the official start of summer. A really great, easy way to work with the summer solstice energy is to be in the sun. And if you're here locally somewhere in Sacramento, it's like 105 today. You probably don't want to be out in the sun as much, but even if it's just 2 minutes where you're just standing in the direct sunlight, letting those light codes infuse into your body, letting the wisdom of the sun, this amazing life force energy that keeps us all able to breathe, that keeps our heart beating, all these things, right? Allow it to just fill you up. And that's today's affirmation. I allow the light of the sun to fill my being. When we talk about being the light, when we talk about the light within us all, that light is coming from the sun, at least for those of us here on Earth. So it's just the most powerful, beautiful energy source. And I think a lot of us just take it for granted. It's just up there every day, you know, but today's really a day to appreciate all that the sun does for us, all of the wisdom it carries, all of the energy it gives us. Just let it fill you up today. Let it fill you up. Imagine your body filling up with light and giving you the ability to share that light with other people too. All right, to close out, we're going to do our tarot poll, and we have to use the Queen of the Moon Oracle today because Cancer is the Queen of the Moon, right? So we'll pull from this Oracle deck, and this is your time to ask any questions, give your input. You have cards in different directions in this deck. Ken says, my projects are kind of a release for me. Ken, my fellow Virgo rising, me too, my friend. I love being productive. That is my release. I feel really good when I get stuff done. I'm right there with you. And knowing yourself, you know, your way of release is different than my way of release. Maybe not yours, Ken, but other people watching, just understanding like what would be a nice release or letting go for me so I can start new projects under the new moon. Thank you, Jennifer. I love just talking about the sun's energy on the summer solstice, just really appreciating it and, you know, linking it to all the light that we always talk about. Keep feeling that push-pull today. I get optimistic, then something happens that makes me feel like I'm taking steps back. Glad to know I can release the negativity. Yes, 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 Rachel. Release the negativity. And that could be what's kind of holding you back from starting what you're optimistic about. That can be the release in itself, just releasing limiting beliefs, releasing the timeline, the need to get it done right now. You know, that's huge, especially with the Aries moon making us feel like we got to start it right now. The release can literally just be, okay, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to bookmark this till the new moon until I'm a little bit more clear about exactly what steps I'm going to take. And if you're feeling that push-pull too, I'm going to repeat, move your body. It doesn't have to be a full workout, but that's a great release for all of us today. Okay, let's take a deep breath, breathe in, and release. What do we need to know? Patience. Patience is the card we pulled, and it's the green corn moon is the card. patience. Card number 36. Very much in line with everything we've just been talking about, of course, being patient. Okay, here's what it says. Enjoy the journey, not the destination. The time has come to learn patience and avoid the lure of instant gratification. Slow down, take your time. Things are happening, you just can't see it yet. Be loving and patient with your body. Are you kidding? The affirmation here is, I take my time to enjoy the journey. Patience is a kind of faith in foreseeing. We might see the seed, but we foresee the flower. We might see the books on the table, but we foresee the degree at the end if we read them. If we think physically, we might even feel the pain of a hard workout, but foresee and have faith in the muscle and fitness levels we will build. Patience is a great way of experiencing the process of fruition. For some of us, we choose what is quick and easy. We may choose activities we know we will be good at. We require no big process, no great challenge over time, and so no great achievement even if we are good at them. But more difficult is a kind of patience and mastery where the skills or learning take time to accrue, and this is where the beauty of patience is born. When we truly realize the power of patience, we understand the power of gaining something incredibly deep and embedded rather than the quick hit of instant gratification. There is great power in going slow. There is also the lifelong benefit of the power of trusting that you can hold a focus for a time for something big. For some of us, learning a physical skill enables us to fall in love with our bodies again, seeing it change, try over and over. We recognize its magnificence in all of its weirdness, wonkiness, strength, weakness, and inherent wisdom. We get to feel the process and the miracle. And if our body doesn't quite get it and we run out of patience, well, nasty self-talk is the last thing we should throw at it. After all, my body is not my enemy. Instead, I throw compassion and trust at it. The compassion that it is doing its best right now, and the trust that it will get me to where I want to go, even if that is eventually. I've learned to be patient. The green corn moon encourages us to watch for growth and enjoy patiently the journey of the growth. While we may not yet be at fruition, we are on the way. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, you guys. It talks about patience, and it also talks about the urge for instant gratification. We're really feeling that urge today with the Aries moon. We just want it, and we want it now. But the Cancer sun is reminding us to listen to our body, giving us a little bit more patience. Venus and Taurus can also help us with patience too right now. And just remembering that this is a process. Part of the last quarter moon, part of this moon phase over the next week we're going into is surrender. It's letting go. It's trusting that it's all working out in divine timing. And that new moon in Cancer could bring some really powerful intuitive hits. So maybe it's worth being a little patient and waiting so you're even more attuned to your intuition. You're even more clear about what it is you want to set intention under that new moon. So sometimes waiting is the best thing we can do, and patience is a beautiful lesson to learn in the process. Right? Wait, I have to laugh. I have to laugh at Heather. She's like, I've been so patient. I know you have. I know you have. Just a little longer, a little longer. Release control, so hard for the Virgo in me. Whew. Rachel, something that has helped me with my Virgo placement, something that literally changed my life, and maybe something that could help you under this releasing phase of the moon, is not necessarily releasing control, but only focusing on things I can control. So it's not making me feel out of control, but instead giving me something else to focus on that I can control. So maybe that is just moving my body. Maybe it's the food I put in my body. Maybe it's how I treat other people. Maybe it's that I can control getting these 3 things done on my to-do list. And if that's all I can control today, then I have done enough. That might help. That's just a little tidbit that's helped me. Such a perfect card. I know. Pretty spot on. Still frustrating though. I know, Heather. I needed to hear this. I get really focused on the destination. The universe pushes me to trust, have faith, and stay in the moment. Yes, yes, yes. And, you know, Katie, I'm someone who I like to manifest things. I have a vision and I'm ready to execute it. And it's like so clear in my mind. And it's really hard for me to be patient in executing that vision because I'm like, I know exactly what it's going to look like. I know how much it's going to cost. I know how much energy it's going to take. I know how much time it's going to take. I'm ready to do it now. But that is focusing on the destination, right? And I love that you said this. The universe pushes me to trust, have faith, and stay in the moment. Yes, perfect card. I know. My Aquarius sun and Virgo moon are determined to make things happen, but I forget about the process. Yeah, and Katie, with your Aquarius sun too, you're probably good at like seeing that perspective, seeing that overarching, like I can see it all playing out. I can see how it's going to go. I'm looking to the future all the time. Aquarius energy is very future focused. So that's that wanting to get to the destination. Your Virgo moon wanting to be in control of how you're getting to the destination. But you gave yourself the best advice, you know? Thank you for the reminder. I sometimes forget about that when I'm in the moment of controlling. That's why I said that one mantra, focus on what you can control when you're in that moment and you're just like gripping as tightly as you can. Girl, I have been there. But yeah, just focus on what you can control in this moment. All right, everybody. This was a beautiful look ahead at Cancer season. I'm toying around with the idea of doing a separate video, probably not live, with just some quick horoscopes for you that will last through Cancer season. Let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in. And I have some other exciting announcements that'll be coming out over the next couple of days. I've got to get all my ducks in a row, be patient with myself, not get too ahead of myself, but I am wanting to start something on the new moon next week. So stay tuned for more information about that. As always, if you found this video helpful, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Help us get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We're so freaking close. And I hope that you all have a beautiful Cancer season ahead. You know where to find me. You can always comment your questions. Come find me on Instagram. DM me if you have any further questions. And yeah. Oh, okay. I will, sometime in the next couple of days, I'll post a video with quick horoscopes for each sign. All right, everybody. Have a beautiful summer solstice. Take just a couple minutes, if you can, to get out in the sun today. Enjoy the life force energy. Soak in a little bit of that vitamin D. I will see you all right back here tomorrow morning to talk about Venus moving into, no, excuse me. Are we talking about, yes, Venus moving into Gemini. All the transits just flooded my brain. We'll talk about all of that tomorrow. So I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you right back here whenever you can make it next. Until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.